Hey everybody, welcome back to JT Channel and welcome to my review of WWE Survivor Series Wargames 2025 took place yesterday. I watched it this morning. I have to watch replays most of the time. My overall review is that it was pretty good. Before I get into it, don't forget this is more of just a reaction. It's not a beat by beat. I don't walk you through like the entrance order or what exactly happened. I just tell you about the big moments and what I thought about each match. So if you want something more that's I guess beat by beat's the only word I can think of, but a more cohesive review, there's other videos out there. If you're here for just the kind of reaction. But anyway, the overall review, like I said, it was pretty good. I don't think it blew me away as past ones have. It's not a slight on the show. It was a great show. But I guess WWE has pushed expectations way too high. There was some really good stuff, some really good moments. Io Sky and Ben always works. But we'll talk about all of that as we go forward, because there is quite a bit to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it here with the women's Wargames match, which, as has become tradition with Survivor Series, is the opener of the show. And it was Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and AJ Lee taking on the Kabuki Warriors, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, and Becky Lynch. This was fine. Again, it was really good. I said it during my picks and predictions video that the women's match tends to outshine the men's. I think that this year they were both pretty good. They're about even as far as how good they were and the stories they told. I will say that while I'm not going to do a beat by beat, I do like how the openers, the starters, I guess, were Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Yes, I know they wrestled on Friday, but you can never go wrong with Asuka and Charlotte Flair, I don't think. Loved the whole thing with Charlotte Flair's gear being designed by a kid that is battling brain cancer, I believe is what it is. So Charlotte Flair wasn't going to turn heel. Everyone was like, oh, Charlotte or Alexa might turn heel. There were going to be no heel turns in this match after that. I also really am... It's weird, but I'm really happy with the fact that Charlotte is now a proper babyface again. People have been so critical of her for so long. Every time her music hits, everyone goes, oh, great, here comes Charlotte Flair. But better give her the damn belt. That whole thing. It's really cool what she's done with the Alexa Bliss team and her ovation. Again, it's cool to see for me personally, because I've always been a big Charlotte Flair fan. And yeah, it's just like the Roman Reigns thing. The experiment wasn't working. WWE kept pushing it anyway. Same thing was happening with Charlotte. They've come a lot further now. Lots of people came out with weapons. You had trash can lids, trash cans, kendo sticks, things like that. And, one of the issues right off the bat is that the last person to come out was Lash Legend. Nothing against Lash. She is an incredible competitor. She's one of those people that if you watch NXT, when she was on it, you knew she was going to be a big star. She's tall. She's powerful. She's got a presence about her. She hasn't been presented in any sort of special way, on the main roster. Meaning that when she came out, it was kind of like, oh, cool, it's Lash Legend. Like, there wasn't a big pop for her, which I'm not saying everyone has to get a big pop, but if you would have built her up better, people would have reacted differently. I almost think you should have switched her and Nia Jax around. I almost think that maybe the babyface should have had the advantage and you could have had Rhea come out last. But that's, that doesn't work because it always works better when the heels have the advantage. It just does. Like, when the babyfaces have the advantage, like, what does it do to the match? It just means the good guys are in control. I mean, that's great if you're an old school wrestling fan. You just cheer the bad guy or cheer the good guys and boo the bad guys. But again, it was fine here. It didn't hurt the match any. Seeing AJ Lee in here was interesting. It's her second match back. She did fine. Of course, we got to talk about the Io Sky spot. This time, instead of a moonsault, she did a swanton into everybody, which did lead to the finish because she took out everybody but Becky Lynch. Before that, actually, and this is something that I called. I don't know if I said this in my predictions video. I don't think I did. But I knew at some point that the way the story was, that Charlotte and Rhea would do some stuff together. I think I did mention this because they did the whole DX crotch chop one night on Raw, and the whole story has been that Charlotte was unsure she could trust Rhea, and then she was like, oh, for one night, I'll have your back. Asuka went to give her the mist, give Rhea the mist, and Charlotte pushed her out of the way, and she missed the Lash Legend instead. You can do that program now if you want to, the Kabuki Warriors and Nia and Lash. Speaking of Rhea Ripley, she won the night because obviously she has another broken nose. I think this is going to be tradition too. She has to break her nose right before Survivor Series, so she has to wear a cool mask on her face. This year, her mask was inspired by Art the Clown from Terrifier. 2 big thumbs from this guy. But after the bin dive, Io Sky's bin dive, she had the trash can on her head, swanton into everyone. Becky was left all alone because she had gotten out of the way, because she's going to let the other people get beat up. And she got beat up. She tried to escape the cage, which I thought was funny. I still think they have to do that 1 year, which we'll talk about the main event later. I still think 1 year they need to have a cowardly heel escape and lose the match for their team, or they need to have 2 stars fighting on top of the cage and someone go flying through like the announce table, and that costs them the match because they're out of the cage. So I hope 1 year we get something like that. I ran that idea years ago to myself. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And we just haven't seen it. But Becky got caught. She got beat up. She took a riptide. She got caught in the Black Widow and she tapped out. So the babyfaces win. I know it seems like I've zoomed through this, but I mean, it was the women's Wargames match. There was plunder. There was lots of fighting. Nia Jax dominated for a while. Lash Legend did hit Rhea Ripley with this massive boot at one point that looked really good. That definitely got the crowd interested in her, because they were all like, whoa, she's bigger than Rhea Ripley. As far as like muscles and stuff, she's a bigger like build than Rhea. So that's going to be a hell of a one-on-one match down the line for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't say saying it's nothing to write home about doesn't give these women credit, because it was a really good match. They definitely beat the hell out of each other. But it was what you expect every year. The women always put out. They always have a great match. Io, again, just always has to dive off the cage with a trash can on her head. I will say this. I will say that while we're all expecting it every year, she's now done everything you can do. Like, she's done the moonsault, she's done the crossbody, she's done the swanton. So if she's going to be in War Games again next year, which she's been in every War Games, I think she might have to change it up just a hair. I'm not sure what that looks like, though. I know, a year out. But again, you have a lot of stories coming out of here. AJ Lee made Becky Lynch tap out. On top of that, it was Jessica Carr, the referee, that counted the submission. Again, part of one of the stories is that Becky has been arguing with that referee on social media and on Raw or whatever, thinking that she's the reason she lost a few matches. So that'll be something else Becky can complain about. But now you can go into the full-on AJ Lee, Becky Lynch feud. I think tomorrow night on Raw, we're doing the Becky Lynch, Maxine Dupree rematch. It's either tomorrow night or the following week. I would have Becky win the title back. Nothing against Maxine. She's great. But I would have her win the title back so that AJ can take it from her, and then we can go from there. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can just have AJ and Becky feud, just a feud. But really good women's War Game match. Again, I'm just here to kind of react to it. Good stuff all around. The best part was the bin, which the thumbnail is going to be one of the best pictures in the history of WWE. Again, when the video goes live, you'll see what the thumbnail is, but I'm just letting you know it will be from this match. So the babyfaces win the women's War Game match. War Games match. And it looks to me like I got the order right, because up next was Dominic Mysterio and John Cena for the Intercontinental Championship. This is probably the best match of the night. Right now, people are already angry at me, yelling at me in the comments, or just yelling at the screen. What do you mean? As far as having fun and having a good time, sorry about that. Anyway, point is, I spent a lot of this match smiling and laughing. Total shenanigans central, the most shenanigans in the history of shenanigans. But before the shenanigans started, it was just a good match. Dominic Mysterio, John Cena. What are you going to do? Or how can you argue that, I should say. Of course, they're in San Diego, which is where Dominic is from. So we got a hometown pop. John Cena got a, oh my God, it's John Cena pop. Especially since it's his last pay-per-view match. They work off each other really well. I think that this has gone a lot better than a lot of people thought it would. But let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about the shenanigans. Shenanigan 1. Dominic went for Raquel and Roxanne were with him, and they were getting involved for a little bit. But then eventually Dominic and John were on the outside, and Dom went for a Hurricane Rana on the floor, and he landed wrong. It was very similar to what happened to Penta recently in the Last Time Is Now tournament, where Penta separated his shoulder or something. So naturally, I and everyone else was like, oh no, what the hell? Excuse me. is Dom injured? Because that'd be like the worst thing to happen. They had the doctors out there, medical staff, whatever. As I was watching this, I was like, man, this would suck. But then, like, part of me was wondering if he did it on purpose. Like, I don't want to say I called this, but part of me was like, I mean, he could. This is totally a thing Dominic Mysterio would do. Referee was out there with Dom. Raquel gets in the ring, hits John Cena with a Tejana bomb, and then Roxanne hits him with a Pop Rocks. I was losing it. I was like, there's no way. John Cena just ate finishers from Raquel and Roxanne. They put him on the rope. Dom pops to his feet, runs in the ring, 619 frog splash. Controversy number one is that after Dom does that, Chad Patton, the referee, loses his mind. He doesn't count the cover. He screams at Dom for feigning an injury, especially one that could be serious. And then he kicks out Roxanne and Raquel because he isn't stupid. He's like, why is John Cena in position for the 619? That doesn't make any sense. So he throws them out. Perfectly fine. But every time this happens in other matches, referees just count 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, ooh, or whatever the case may be. The point is, it's controversial because people are mad about that, which I understand. Where I'm coming from, I'm thinking that Chad Patton was like, look, I can't let this stuff go anymore. This is John Cena's last pay-per-view match. We're going to keep going, throw them out. He could have just disqualified Dom, but what good would that have done? Again, I get the criticisms, but it's wrestling. You know, staying mad about it isn't going to help you or your day. So I was like, that's kind of stupid, but I'll move on. John hits an AA. Dom kicks out. They fight some more. John eventually goes for the 5 moves of doom. He goes for a shoulder tackle. Dominic ducks, and he wipes out the referee. Shenanigan 2. JD McDonough and Finn Balor come out. They start beating up John Cena after he tries to put him in the STF, which they're calling the STFU again, which I think is kind of cool. They won't change the attitude adjustment to the FU, but calling the STFU again is fun. But Dom and JD start beating him up. They go for a couple of top rope moves. John blocks, gets out of the way, hits a double AA, which was, again, really cool to see. Because I don't think he actually did it all that often. Like, he's done it, but usually when he has 2 people on his shoulders, one would, like, jump down. This time, drops them both. Then Dom goes and gets the Intercontinental Championship, goes to hit John Cena, misses. John hits him with an AA. He's like, I need a referee. If you can't tell what's on my background, that's Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan music hits. She makes her big return. And this was fun, too. She gave it a shenanigan 3. She comes to the ring, does her little dance or whatever with Dom, and then slaps Dom. And I'm like, oh, snap. Which, her turning on Dom at the moment kind of made sense because of all the stuff with Roxanne and Raquel. But she seemingly turns on Dom. She does her big jump, wrap, hug to John Cena. The camera zooms in on her face. She's smiling. And then it turns into a face of absolute insanity. Really it's the same face John Cena made at Elimination Chamber when he hugged Cody Rhodes. Cool callback. She jumps down, boots John Cena in the balls. Dominic hits a 619. She hits him with the title. Dom hits a frog splash. Chad Patton finally gets back in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Dominic Mysterio is your brand new Intercontinental Champion. He beats John Cena with an absolute boatload of shenanigans. The entire Judgment Day got involved, which is kind of cool because while I've heard rumor that John Cena doesn't have 100% say in what's going on in his final year, because that's just not how WWE works. I mean, it's John Cena, but it's WWE. I do think he had a hand in suggesting, at least, the entire Judgment Day getting involved, kind of help them get over and stay over. It's like the girls, the women, I keep wanting to say Roxelle for some reason. Roxanne and Raquel both put him out with finishers. JD and Finn got to be involved, even though they both ate AAs. And then, of course, Liv did the whole fake out turn. Really good stuff. I really liked this match. I spent a lot of time smiling and laughing. I wasn't mad at any of it. I think I said in my predictions, I don't care how Dom wins as long as he wins. I do think this is perfect. Now, again, we'll talk about this in 2 weeks. But now I definitely believe John Cena needs to win his last match. He should not have lost. Originally, I said John Cena should only lose twice this year. That's to Cody Rhodes and in his last match. Well, then he lost to Brock Lesnar. And I'm like, well. And then I was like, well, he should probably lose to Dom. I was able to wrap my head around this idea. I think this was a great idea. Now he needs to go out on top. Who does he face in his last match? Rumors, Gunther. I would take any of the final four. I think it's LA Knight, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Gunther. He did his big farewell. Well, not a big farewell. He waved goodbye to everybody and then like put his hand on the LED screens as he was leaving. He's like, oh no, no more Survivor Series for John Cena. There's still juice in here. Finish it. I will say that I have one slight about this match. It's a good show overall, but if I'm going to tell you guys something I didn't like, I'm going to tell you. Or if I know something, I'm going to tell you. I thought it was an interesting decision to not have Rey Mysterio come out to help John Cena at some point. I get that he's from San Diego as well, so the pop would have been massive, but I don't think it would have overshadowed anything, especially since they had that six-man. I thought, wasn't it against the Judgment Day? And it was him, Sheamus, and Rey Mysterio. So, like, my head, and I think I even said this in my predictions video, I assumed that the Judgment Day was going to come out at some point, and that Sheamus would come out, and then Rey would come out. And then, again, in San Diego, he'd get a huge pop. Maybe they'd brawl to the back or whatever, and then we could do the whole Liv Morgan thing. Not a bad thing, necessarily. Like, it's not like it ruined the match, but I just thought it was a weird decision not to have them come and help John. I get it. You want John to look strong. No shenanigans on his side. He doesn't need them. But that's just my opinion. Overall, I think it was the right decision. Now we can give Dominic hopefully a big program going into 2026. I don't know what's going to happen with Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne. I feel like these two are most likely on their way out of the Judgment Day, and that'll be a good thing. I think by WrestleMania, Liv and Dom should likely be on their own, while the Judgment Day still exists without him. And maybe you can do like JD or Finn versus Dom at WrestleMania. That'd be cool. But Dominic Mysterio is once again your Intercontinental Champion, and I definitely did not cry when I realized that this was John Cena's last pay-per-view match. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Next up was the Women's World Championship match. Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella. This, I'm doing the Beverly Cleary, because I don't really know what to say about this match, and I feel really bad about that. It was a really good match. It was Nikki Bella's best effort since her return. I'm actually happy Nikki Bella is back. I know there's that small corner of weirdos that's like, well, she was never good. She was always good. Was she ever great? That's up to interpretation. I think this is her best match so far. Yes, I know there's going to be 2 or 3 idiots going, well, that's because Stephanie Vaquer was in it. Takes 2 to tango. I trained to be a wrestler. I can promise you that the whole one guy carried the match thing isn't as easy as you think it is. One guy can't just carry all their matches. It takes 2 to tango. Nikki looked great here. She carried her own. But in the end, it was just kind of Nikki Bella. It was classic WWE, right? Like the heel takes a bunch of control. The big face flares up, loses it for a little bit, and then wins anyway. The Devil's Kiss on the announce table I thought was cool. And then you got a second Devil's Kiss, the corkscrew splash, and the 1, 2, 3. Few problems with this match. I promise I'm not trying to be overly critical. It just felt like there were things about this show that were way up here, and for some reason they had to drop them down a little bit. My biggest problem with this match is that there was an SVB, her big finisher, backbreaker that she does, and she kind of did it with no hoopla. She just kind of went, bam, and Nikki Bella kicked out, and there was like no reaction to it. Even the commentators kind of like, oh, look, she hit the move. Oh, no, she kicked out. And I'm like, wait, that was her finisher before she started doing the corkscrew splash. So why are we underselling the SVB? That was her big move when she got on the main roster. But it was fine. I mean, I wasn't mad. It was more like, that was weird. And the other thing, and I don't know if this is a problem. I don't know if this is a script. I don't know if this is a work. But I noticed it. I thought I was seeing things that weren't there. But I've watched other reviews. Other people have mentioned it. It seemed like after the Devil's Kiss on the announce table, she threw Nikki Bella in the ring. And Nikki Bella kind of no-sold it. And it looked like Stephanie Vaquer might have actually been upset. And then she had another Devil's Kiss and then won the match. There's every chance it was a work, that it was part of the match. It's like Nikki Bella got back in the ring and got up like, hey, you can't take me down. Because then she like hit Stephanie Vaquer. And then Stephanie Vaquer took her down, did the second Devil's Kiss. But she looked genuinely upset. I hope I'm being worked, because one of the worst things you can do in pro wrestling is no-sell somebody's move when it's not in in the script, I guess. We all know wrestling isn't on the up and up. We all know that it's scripted and worked and whatnot. So, again, I hope I'm either wrong or looking for things that aren't there. It's hard not to believe it because, again, I've watched other reviews and other people have mentioned it. So, we'll see. The big thing coming out of this match and the other issue is, Nikki Bella went heel, turned on Stephanie Vaquer because she wants the title, and she couldn't win the title. Stephanie Vaquer's got to go on to something else now. There's absolutely no reason for her to continue this feud. Pardon me. I hope that they have something for her because she's incredible. I think they said she's the winningest superstar on the roster, or the winningest champion anyway. So she's got to have a big feud going into the next year. I guess going into the Royal Rumble, because there's not really a pay-per-view next month. They're doing the John Cena Saturday Night's Main Event. I think like part or most of the show is going to be NXT stuff. So we'll see what happens. And you should do something else with Nikki Bella too. Like, she can take some time off, obviously, but bring her back, put her in a good feud. But I'm fine with Stephanie Vaquer winning. I know I said I would rather Nikki Bella won, so that then Stephanie could do the chase and win the title back. As long as she goes into WrestleMania as the champion, that's fine with me. So Stephanie Vaquer is still your Women's World Champion. Last but certainly not least is the men's War Game match, which was CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and the Usos taking on Brock Lesnar, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and over here is Drew McIntyre. This was really good. This was probably one of my more favorite of the men's War Games matches over the last couple of years. I just liked the in-ring more, and I think the stories were some of my more favorite stories going into the show. I really liked how the match started and how the match ended, for sure. When CM Punk came out, I kind of assumed that Drew McIntyre would come out with him. No, it was Braun Breaker. And what was great about this match is that even when the babyfaces would catch up, because the heels had the advantage. So, it was Braun beating up CM Punk, then it was Braun Breaker, Drew McIntyre beating up CM Punk, and then I think Cody Rhodes came out. But it seemed like every time the babyfaces got rid of the advantage, it was 3-on-2, now it's 3-on-3. They couldn't actually stay in control. I thought that was a really cool added thing, I guess. I don't really know what to call it, but it's a cool story beat, I guess, that no matter how hard the babyfaces tried, they just couldn't keep it going, couldn't get it going. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes both bled, which I thought was interesting. It didn't take Punk long at all, and he was bleeding hard at one point. The other things we have to talk about, Cody Rhodes' big dive off the top of the cage. That was awesome. Somebody in the men's match had to do it. And I have to talk about this because, I watch reviews and I look online to see what people are saying about the shows. And there's a bunch of idiots complaining about Jey Uso again because that's their favorite thing to do. They don't have a life. They don't live. They don't do anything other than complain about Jey Uso. Because yes, he came to the ring as the fourth entrant for the babyfaces, took everybody out. They wiped out the bad guys, and Jey Uso ran it back. Who cares? Why do you care so much? You have a million things to do. You probably have a job. You probably have a family. You probably have a life to go out there and, live and have a good time and go on drives and go out to dinner. Why are you so worried about Jey Uso doing his entrance twice? Yeah, I get it. It was on pay-per-view. It was in the middle of a match. But who cares? It's wrestling. It's meant to be fun. And when those people, that very small group of people, it's 20 to 30 people maximum, are having temper tantrums about a man having fun, 46,000 people are screaming and yeeting. So I don't know why I'm so worked up about it. I guess I'm just sick of the idiots, the grifters online who just won't shut up about things they don't like instead of promoting things that they do. And besides, this one was great because one, he sat on top of the cage holding one of the cables, just kind of dancing like a moron. And two, it got interrupted by Brock Lesnar, which made me laugh again because Brock Lesnar is the only wrestler in all of the War Games matches to not have a clock count down from 20 seconds to 1. His music just hit when it was his time, which I enjoyed. I knew he was next because him and Roman were the final two. I thought Jay will be dancing, the clock will count down. They'll be like, oh no, it's go time. But no, his music just hit. He came out, killed everyone. And then the other thing And there's so much to talk about. Another thing we have to talk about is that when Roman came out, Brock left the cage. Yes, the rules say if you leave the cage, your team forfeits. The announcers said that only counts when the match officially begins. So they found a loophole to let Brock and Roman fight on the floor. That's fine. Roman Reigns got put through the announce table, which was pretty cool. The announce table broke really funny because Roman hit it and then started to roll and then the table broke. It looked crazy. Brock got him in the ring. They all started to beat the hell out of each other. Cool spots with weapons, as always. There were chairs and they were throwing people into cages. There was a time when Brock got speared through the table. And that was after Brock got hit with a couple of finishes. I think it was the GTS and the Crossroads. Jay picked him up, and then Brock got him on his shoulder. Roman speared him, and that was, getting ahead of myself here, that was after Roman Reigns had gotten the brass knucks off of Logan Paul. Paul Heyman gave him to Logan. Logan was punching people. He went to hit Roman, didn't work. He got speared, so Roman took him with Superman punching people with the brass knucks, including Drew took one. That was crazy because Drew jumped off the top rope and got Superman punched. So stuff with the brass knucks, tables getting broken. It was fine, lots of big moves from Braun Breaker, who should have been the star of this match, and he was, I think. When Bronson Reed came out, he just tsunami'd everybody that was down. It was, again, kind of funny. It was just like tsunami, tsunami, tsunami. The crowd was really into it. But we have to talk about this, which is why I have it as the background. Because after everyone had taken each other out, it was CM Punk and Braun Breaker fighting in another ring. And all of a sudden, a man dressed from head to toe in black shows up, runs up the cage, and drops in, right? And you can see here, he's a hooded guy, and he even had one of those masks that were cover your entire face. So no one could see who he was. He just stood there, staring at CM Punk and Braun Breaker. And after a few seconds went by, both him and Punk and Braun were like, who is this? What's going on? He super kicked CM Punk, and then he hit CM Punk with the curb stomp and then left. Now, fair play to the crowd. They bought it. They actually reacted as if it was Seth Rollins. The hooded figure that just disappeared before Braun picked up Punk and hit him with a spear. One of his big spears where he hits the rope 3 or 4 times. And Braun Breaker pinned CM Punk, which is exactly what should have happened. Now we can get into that feud properly. So the heels win, which I thought was the right move. And now we have some mystery man, Austin Theory. So we have a mystery man on our hands. The rumor has been for a long time that Austin Theory was going to be the next member of the Vision. And now that now that Rollins is out, that's most likely who this was. Most likely teasing the idea, because it doesn't make any sense that it's Seth Rollins. The crowd reacted as if it was Seth Rollins. I guess it does. Okay, I'm correcting myself mid-sentence. It makes sense because Seth hates CM Punk more than anything in the world. That's his whole character is more than I hate CM Punk more than I love being champion kind of thing. So even though he'd be pissed at the Vision, yeah, he could take out CM Punk, but why would he help the Vision win, right? So the reaction of the crowd, great. Again, it is most likely Austin Theory, which I'm fine with. He needs a reset. Putting him in the Vision is a perfect thing for that. Yeah, I guess it's fine. I don't really know what else to say about it. It was cool. It was a fun moment. And yeah, the heels won this one. I don't know what everyone does from here. Again, Braun Breaker should probably go into the world title picture. I assume Brock will likely just take time off. Maybe he'll come back for the Rumble and WrestleMania. There was some aftermath here where Roman Reigns helped up CM Punk and they did the little fist bump. It's Punk lost the match. Roman was like, it's okay, it happens. But he didn't help Cody Rhodes up. They got in each other's faces a few times. You had a shot of Roman and Cody with Punk in the background, which makes me a little nervous. I don't want that triple threat match. I know it would sell. It's the 3 biggest stars in the company. But I just don't think it's necessary. If you want to do Roman and Cody again, that's absolutely fine. But then Roman went to leave and they got in each other's face again. And Roman said that is the last time you and I ever team up. So we are probably going to get Roman and Cody 3. Excuse me. I don't think you need to muddy the waters by having all 3 of them in one match. That's just my opinion. You can do Roman and Cody whenever you want, and you can do Punk and something else. But that was it. That's the end of Survivor Series Wargames. I thought something else might happen. I don't know what would have. There were plenty of things that happened, but overall, like I said, pretty good show. I don't think it's going to blow you away. I don't think you should not watch it either. I don't think you should skip this show whatsoever. You can find a way to watch it. Watch it. You guys know I don't watch it on ESPN. I refuse. But I always find a way to take time out of my day to watch it. The next thing we have to do is Saturday night's main event in 2 weeks. I almost have the next thing we have to look forward to. It's not going to be easy. You know, I'll probably do a whole video on John Cena one of these days, because that's probably the big takeaway from this show, is that John Cena lost his last PLE match. He'll stay at an even 100 pay-per-view wins in his career, second behind only The Undertaker. I think, you know, there's lots of stories coming out of the women's War Games and the men's War Games. I don't want to take anything away from them, and I'm excited to see what happens next with 70 Vaquer, but I do think that's one of the biggest takeaways from this show is we're 2 weeks away. We're 13 days away as of me making this video from John Cena's last match. So I hope they do take his loss and make Dominic a bigger star. I said what I said about Dominic. I do think him and Liv should be separate from the Judgment Day by WrestleMania. Dom should be a full-on, maybe not babyface, but not a heel. Like, he should still be Dirty Dom, but get away from the Judgment Day and maybe have a cool program going into Mania. Probably with his dad, I assume. I assume him and Ray are going to go back at it. But that's it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave comments. What did you guys think of Survivor Series War Games? Do you think it was good? Did you absolutely effing hate the whole thing? I don't know. I always find it weird when people watch pay-per-views or PLEs or whatever, and they're like, "That was the worst show ever." I promise you, it wasn't. Go watch WCW in the year 2000. Those were the worst shows ever. As far as what's next for the channel, I always, you know, if you're still here, cool. If people have already logged off because I'm done talking about the show, got a few ideas coming for the channel. But as far as videos like this, it's the end of the year, so my end of year lists are going to be coming out where I'm like, oh, who is my favorite wrestler? Best match, this, that, the third. And of course, like I said, Saturday night's main event in a couple weeks. But until all that, this is JT Channel. I am JT, and I will see you in the next one.